Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another video on Supergirl Season 3, Episode 12, and today we're going to be reviewing the episode that was on last night. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any Supergirl videos later this year. So I'm going to be giving my review on this episode and breaking down the interesting parts and giving some theories and things like that to do with the story and the plot. But first off, my overall thoughts of this episode. I've been loving all the episodes this season, and apart from the damage episode, I felt like this and the damage episode were the two episodes in the season where I wasn't fully invested. It just seemed a bit lackluster. I know people refer to it as filler episodes, and I don't like referring to episodes as filler, but this was truly a filler episode, and it kind of annoyed me how far they went off from the Rain stuff. They barely mentioned Rain, although the Alex and Sam stuff was very good. I liked the Legion of Superheroes stuff. Imra and Brainy were only mentioned, they weren't even in the episode, so it felt like a total derailment from the past episodes of what's been going on in the story, so I wasn't a big fan of that. I know a lot of people love Lena Luthor. I thought she was pretty decent in this episode, but I just felt like the storyline really didn't pick up at all. Like, I wasn't super engaged like I have been with the Legion or Rain or the Worldkillers, something like that. I've been really invested over the past season, and I felt like the same with this episode. There has been a few of these episodes this season, but some of those filler episodes, as people would say, have been really interesting, and I just feel like this storyline wasn't interesting really at all. So that's just my overall thoughts. So we're going to be breaking down these scenes, not necessarily chronologically, but just the scenes I want to talk about. So it's revealed that Kara has been getting nightmares somehow, and it's a dream scene with Rain and Purity and the Pestilence figure, who we don't actually see who she is, but I'm guessing we're going to find out sometime in the next few episodes, because we know there's 3 Worldkillers and she's only a dark figure in this. And the use of scenery and the CGI and the colors was as if it was like the imagination of hell, and it makes a lot of sense considering Rain is there to rain hell on Earth. She's there to serve her justice. Purity and Pestilence are there to aid her, and I just really like that scene. I thought that was one of the best scenes. Although it was short, it was repeated later with another shot of Purity, and we'll talk more about Purity later. So one thing that actually really intrigued me was a lot of the Legion callouts that Mon-El actually referenced in this episode. It was referred to that the Legion actually battled Zod, and Zod was actually resurrected. Mon-El confirmed that. Time travel, don't fuck it up, Mon-El. He's kind of screwing up time a bit with saying that, but if you didn't know, Superman on the TV show actually ended up killing Zod, and that's a reference to the comics, but also maybe a reference to the Man of Steel film because he kills him, and normally Superman doesn't kill, obviously, so that's a big deal. So he's somehow resurrected. Like I said, Alex and Samantha in this episode, it was interesting, it was slow paced, but overall I was interested to see if she would find out that she's Rain, but it turns out she has no symptoms, and the symptoms that she's been experiencing are unexplained, and she doesn't know. Obviously, we as the spectator, we know that she's Rain and she's got this alter ego going on, and that's the reason why. And also, another thing that I found interesting is due to her being genetically modified and her being created on Krypton, so she's not a normal Kryptonian. Wim finds that out at the start, and by the end he's able to track them down, and there was a meteorite storm and some aliens were showered down from space, but Alex broke into Rain's skin, and that just proves that she's not a normal Kryptonian to us, because we've only got the reference so far. We haven't had a full-on confirmation, but that kind of confirms it, because we know she's actually from Krypton. We saw her pod leave, so we knew that she was actually from there, but she's not normal. So the Lena and James stuff in this episode, James was pretty average, nothing too special. Lena was good. I felt Katie McGrath actually did a very good job, but then a few times in the episode I felt like her performance actually dipped a tiny bit. Just before she was about to get poisoned, I think her acting just slipped up a tiny bit. There's just a few things like that, and I felt like the script on this episode wasn't actually as good. It felt like the writing was very cheap and very quickly done, considering it's a filler episode, as you would say, so they don't have to spend a lot of time actually going over that. It's just an episode to fill up the time, and there were some really cheesy Fast and Furious-esque lines talking about family. Oh, we're here if anything happens, and that kind of annoyed me because everyone takes a mick out of Fast and Furious for doing stuff like that. I felt like there was too many similarities between that, and I just didn't really like the writing overall in the episode, but that's just my opinion. So in this episode, Morgan Edge, someone tries to kill him because they hack his car, and we've seen this lots of times. This happened, I think, on the other DC shows at one point, and Morgan had a brilliant entrance. I thought Morgan Edge was actually very good in this episode. The performance of the actor was actually really good. I really enjoyed Morgan in this episode, unlike some past episodes where I haven't been super intrigued. I felt like Morgan was definitely a step up, but I felt like Lena was just the same. Her character really didn't dip up that much, although she had some changes in storyline, obviously with her mum showing up and technically Cadmus is back. It didn't feel like it was anything too significant, but Morgan, his entrance after he had the attack on his life was really good, and I really liked how confrontational he was and he wasn't holding back. And then everyone just jumped to the conclusion that it was Morgan that tried to kill Lena after she got poisoned, and so Guardian actually shows up for the first time in a while, and that was quite interesting seeing him. Guardian's parts in this episode was more of a side story, it wasn't too important, but it was cool seeing him back. So it's revealed that Lena's mum is actually back, and I'm kind of sad because I didn't really like her last season. I felt like that was one of the weakest things of the whole season, and I don't think with Cadmus back, I don't think that would be a good idea. So hopefully with her in prison, hopefully they don't bring the Cadmus storyline back, because I wasn't a fan of that. I really didn't like that, but I did like last season, so I was kind of sad. But then she was alright, she was doing the Iron Man thing in the mask, and the one cool part about Lillian Luthor's actual appearance in this episode was the exosuit, and it's dubbed Lexo Suit, so it's actually Lex Luthor's exosuit from the comics that he wears. It's very iconic. Obviously they changed up the looks, but we saw a glimpse of that in season 2, I'm fairly certain, so that was awesome seeing that. And we got Mon-El, and Mon-El actually suited up, and I feel like it would have been better if they actually were in this episode, but it kind of would have made them a bit OP. So Mon-El versus Lillian, that was an awesome fight because we got to see Mon-El flying on a drone controlled by wind, and I felt like that scene was probably one of the best in the episode, considering it was just really creative and we hadn't seen really anything like that, and I actually really rate that scene. So Lena sees Mon-El for the first time, and Kara knows already, although I felt like Kara actually played it off quite wrong then. I feel like maybe Lena got the hint. Kara knew that he was a superhero, and basically things weren't totally adding up there, so they're gonna have to have a chat in the next 2 episodes to wrap that up. But yeah, so Mon-El and Lena are seeing each other for the first time in a very long time. So Supergirl and Mon-El actually fight together, and the superhero landing they do was great, and just the scenes together in that fight scene with Lillian Luthor, I thought they were very, very good, and I enjoyed that part of the episode. I felt like the fight scenes were very good in this episode, apart from, you know, the overall storyline going on in this episode wasn't that intriguing. So that was one of the positives of the episode. So one of the final scenes was Kara and Mon-El, and Mon-El says, "We made a pretty good team," and obviously that's with them working together, and it's just nice seeing that. And we got a Computo name drop, he's a villain from the comics, and Kara and Mon-El speak, and Mon-El says he's committed to being that hero that Kara taught him to be. So it was just really nice seeing them actually talk together. Although there was a bit of awkwardness, they sort of edged out of that, and it's just great seeing them work together and actually come back and properly talk together. Like last episode, the ending scene was really good with them talking together. I have just come to really admire these scenes between them when they're actually just talking together, even if they're not fighting alongside each other. It's just nice seeing them talk together because these scenes are actually written very well, and I felt like along with their fight scenes and the Alex and Samantha things that went on in this episode, I felt like the ending of the episode was a very strong way to actually go out. So there is a lot of positives in the episodes, yet there is quite a lot of negatives for me in my opinion, but I voiced that at the start, so we're not going to go back over that. And by the end of the episode, we get to find out that Wynn actually found these anomalies, and then Kara quickly flashes and she remembers Julia in her dream, so that being Purity in that hellish landscape, and she obviously doesn't tell everyone how she knows, but obviously we know as the spectator it's because she's been seeing her in her nightmares, and she's linked to Rain and what's going on there. She obviously has the feeling, and she has some sort of connection between them. So I'm very excited for next episode because it's going to be the Purity episode. We're going to be advancing into the main storyline about the Worldkillers, and that is just what I want. I'm so intrigued with Rain and the Legion of Superheroes helping out, and everything like that has been especially good this season, so I'm very excited for what's to come. It wasn't a bad episode, it wasn't a really good episode, it was just a good episode overall, so I would give it like a 6.5 out of 10 or something like that, maybe a 7. So anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
It doesn't make us strong, it doesn't make us weak. Tongue tied to service like sharp.